Hi, I'm going to talk to you today about the thing that's pissing me off most, and that is the results of the Republican primary in Texas, but not the one you're thinking of. I'm going to talk to you about the Texas State Board of Education 9th District election and how that's going to screw us up for a while. I'm giving myself 7 minutes, which is the amount that I would have to do if this was an extemp speech. I'm a little rusty and I'm gonna read some numbers off of my phone, so I hope you don't mind. Here we go. So the results of this State Board of Education race in the northeast corner of Texas is going to be really far-reaching, I think. Mary Lou Brunner, who is a former educator, she taught in Texas schools for 36 years. She is a conservative. She believes that we need to return to Texas values and everything like that. And in this primary, she received 48% of the vote, 106,662 votes, which means she goes into a runoff with her nearest competitors because no one got a majority. So just breaking down some numbers, 2.8 million Texans voted in the Republican Party yesterday, Republican Party primary yesterday. So that means about 4% of people who voted in the Texas Republican primary voted for this woman, just like numbers-wise. Maybe not across the board, but numbers-wise, that's what happened. And this is a really big problem. The State Board of Education in Texas sets the curriculum and approves like lesson materials. So we're talking textbooks, we're talking things like lesson plans. They set this curriculum. So the State Board of Education has a really, really big deal of oversight. In 2010 and 2012, there were a lot of issues with the State Board of Education changing standards to things that we didn't necessarily believe in would be good for like Texas students. We're talking about changing the way that we teach religions, like comparative religion, changing the way we teach social studies, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, slavery and the Civil War, everything like that up for grabs. And there was a lot of backlash about that. Nationally, there were things in like the New York Magazine, New York Book Review, Washington Post, Huffington Post, things along that line. People were talking about it because it made them upset. Between 2010 and now, we've kind of dialed back that backlash. The more conservative members died out, either leaving their posts or getting voted out. Or schools decided maybe we don't want to listen to this curriculum and we're using teaching materials that weren't on the approved curriculum list. Though that happened in way fewer cases than people who actually use these modified, updated materials. So there's been a lot of goodwill with the SBOE in the last few years, which is really good. However, according to Mark Jones, who is a Rice University Baker Institute professor, he's been published in such publications as the American Journal of Political Science, Cambridge University Press, and he is widely cited in research on the Texas legislature. Moreover than that, his current research agenda focuses on and analyzes the evolution of partisan politics in Texas in the last 50 years. So he's kind of the guy that you would trust on this. According to Dr. Jones, Ms. Brunner is going to fare very well in this runoff election, and that's going to cause a lot of the goodwill to go away that we've had in the last 4 years. She's going to bring this decisiveness and divisiveness back to the State Board of Education, which puts things like how we talk about race and how we talk about history back on the table in a way that they haven't been for the last 3 or 4 years. This is important because there are so many students that are going to be affected by this. My parents always say, Amber, like, why do you care? You don't live in Texas anymore. You're not in public school in Texas. Like, I went to public high school in Texas. I learned U.S. history in Texas. And so it's an issue that's really important to me. I do live in Chicago now. I would like to go back to Texas within the next few years. And, you know, my mother wants to have some grandbabies or puppies or pizzas. And they will all go to public school. So this is an issue that affects them. But the thing that we need to focus on is enrollment that was expanding in Texas. So according to a Texas Tribune article in April of 2015, public school enrollment in Texas reached 5 million students, and Hispanic enrollment is the majority. So we're talking people of color are now this, you know, really dominating figure in Texas schools, and Anglo enrollment is going to be down 15% by 2050. Enrollment is exploding in Texas, 19% increase in the last decade, and a 21% increase, which was 4 times the national rate of 4.8% from 2000 to 2010. By 2050, enrollment is projected to be at 9 million students per the Rice Hobby Center for Society of Texas. So these are students that are going to be seeing the effects of things that are happening now. How we teach history, how we teach social science, especially because it's so subjective, is going to be a really big issue. And when there's a person who's going to sit on the State Board of Education that doesn't believe that slavery was a root cause of the Civil War, was the root cause of the Civil War, we run into problems. Ms. Bruner ardently, adamantly believes and has published something on her Facebook page to this account. Now, granted, this was in 2014, and I do not endorse, scouring people's Facebook pages for reasons to discredit them in general. However, this specifically affects the policy area that we are discussing today. And she honestly believes that taxes were the reason that the South declared war on the North in the Civil War. Now, I don't know if you've ever been taught slavery and the Civil War by a racist, but I have. This man literally called the Civil War the War of Northern Aggression. And the South did not ever fully recover from the ramifications of the Civil War, and those reasons were economic. But they were also because the South was not paying for labor. Period. That's where it all comes from, the legalization of slavery. So I think that this is destroying America, because talking about race is important, especially when we're dealing with a state that is going to be like a minority-majority state, and is already, and it's going to continue to be that way. And we can't even talk about, or address issues of slavery, acknowledging that slavery was the reason that the Civil War happened. We will not be able to properly address or communicate issues when it comes to social sciences. So, if you live in Texas State Board of Education District 9, there's going to be a Republican primary runoff on May 24th, 2016.
Hi!
Please,
correction.
Please.
If you voted in the Republican primary yesterday, or you voted in no primary yesterday, you can vote in the runoff election on May 24th. If you voted in the Democratic primary, you're SOL. Don't listen to this, Amber. She's wrong. That's why I'm making this corrected video. So again, if you either voted yesterday in the Republican primary or didn't vote yesterday in any primary, you can vote in the runoff on May 24th. Again, if you live in State Board of Education District 9 and did not vote in the Democratic Party runoff, primary, Amber, the word you're looking for is primary, please vote for Kevin Ellis on May 24th.
So, if, like Dr. Jones believes, Ms. Bruner is going to win her seat, in November, vote for Amanda Rudolph. Okay? Because literally the entire future of how Texas teaches social policy and social sciences is on the line based on this one woman's insane viewpoints. I am extremely grateful that Salon, Gawker, Slate, Daily Beast, Breitbart, all those places are doing pieces on this. But I don't think they're talking about the impact on, the future of Texas education. Because it's really important, and it's something that is going to be a key critical element of what's going to happen next. And we need to talk about it, because otherwise we won't be able to talk about it. We will not be able to talk about it. Happy Texas Independence Day. This is not how I planned on spending this day. I'm gonna go eat some brisket. Go educate yourselves, and please encourage your friends and family who live in these counties to vote for Kevin Ellis on May 24th in the runoff and Amanda Rudolph on November 4th. 3rd? November 8th.